Ladies and gentlemen, people in persons, we are back for another episode of your weekly pop culture apocalypse. I'm your co-host, Nerly Quinn, joined by the main man Matthias, as always. We have a very interesting episode for you today. So, what do you got, Matthias?
I figure we usually do those verses. This is a bit different. I thought of this on the whim one day. It is a versus. It's going to be Amanda Waller from DC, which you could say, I don't know, Argus, Cadmus, it don't matter. I grew up with her in Cadmus. I don't know about you. And then her opponent will be Nick Fury, not just Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he runs S.H.I.E.L.D., what he is. But this is different. This is more like he is the guy. Super spy. This is an episode of competence, of whether or not in their respective fields, who is more competent leader / human being.
That's very interesting to me because holy
it's
crap.
safe to say that these guys kind of walk that line of, I am the good guy, but I don't do good things. So, did you have?
I think the common misconception is that, they are the good guy, but they have to do some pretty questionable things in order for the outcome to be the way that it should be.
Well, I got a lot of influence from this episode from this last season of Invincible. The character I'm thinking of, Cecil, is kind of in the same ropes as Amanda Waller's figure and Nick Fury's figure of the head honcho of we're the good guys, but we don't do good guys, quote unquote, team. And he said something in one of the episodes that, like I said, it caught my eye. It said, he said, we can be the good guys or we could save the world, but we can't do both. And I'm like, dang, that's pretty deep.
Ooh, that's because it's true though.
It is true. It's very true. Why don't, usually when we do these verses, I have Gnarly here do DC, as she's more equipped to do DC than I am. I'm more of the Marvel guy, but did you want to kick us off with Amanda Waller's resume?
Yeah, I know she's got quite the extensive resume. Everything from, I know you're talking about Cadmus, but basically leading the Suicide Squad. I know she had some involvement in Trinity War. She has some ties to Argus. But yeah, basically her resume, I thought she has a very interesting history and a very interesting past. And also with the different task force that she has been tasked with, she's basically leading a bunch of people who do not want to be led and who do not want to be there, but she's just forcing them to do it anyways. The thing I thought interesting about her, especially with her competence, is that she's not friendly at all, but she will get the job done. She's just powerful because she'll put you under her thumb. She'll put you directly under her thumb, and then she will make you do exactly what she wants you to do. And even if you don't, she will tell you that that's not the outcome that she wants, and she will still get it anyway, one way or another.
If I can butt in here, I remember I said I grew up with the Justice League cartoon, the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, and especially Justice League Unlimited. That's probably the better... That's my favorite. Maybe the second season, I guess. Anyway, growing up with Amanda Waller, how devious she is, and then 10 years ago they came out that Suicide Squad movie. I'm like, I'd like to know who is going to play her. And then I think her name's Viola Davis. I think that's the right actress I'm thinking of.
Yes.
But she knocked it out of the park and kept going.
She did amazing.
I don't think anyone could top that, the way she did that, her acting for that character. It was amazing. But yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh no, you're good, buddy. Her big claim to fame was obviously Task Force X. That is what I had known her from, and I know she actually was the one that created it. She has ties to a lot of different types of organizations, and she also has different roles in each of them, but they're all very intelligent and they're all very intuitive in what she was doing. Even with Task Force X, she created it and she's running it. I think everyone always underestimates her because they're like, oh, she's just the man behind everything. She's not doing anyone's dirty work. Where she actually does have the ability to do the dirty work, and I don't think a whole lot of people understand that.
I remember, like I said, besides the cartoon, the video games, cartoons, and the movie Suicide Squad, I think I've seen that twice. I haven't seen the new one, but the one that came out 10 years ago. I remember the one part where Harley Quinn and Joker or getting away in the helicopter, and she goes over to Deadshot and she goes like, I want you to take her out. And Deadshot's like, she did nothing to me. And Amanda Waller's like, you're a contract killer, right? I got a new contract. Harley Quinn, your reward will be your freedom, and you can have your life and your kid back. And he's like, she's dead. It's on the fly, ruthless, no empathy at all.
Yeah. I feel like at one point she did have that empathy, but as she grew into the person and the position that she's in now, she saw a lot that made her realize that you either have to lose that empathy or you will die. And a lot of other people will die as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that also makes her a very dynamic character as well, for me anyways. If you look hard enough, you can actually see see her grow and change as a person, and also in the way she thinks too, because she is very adaptable as well. If a outcome is beginning to brew that is not what she wants, she is so quick thinking to change the circumstance or the scenario to get what she wants.
You said she had other teams besides Task Force X.
Well, she was either a part of them or she had some involvement in them. So I know with Argus was the offshoot of Homeland Security that deals with superhuman threats. It was originally founded by Steve Trevor after the Darkseid invasion. It's prompted Amanda Waller to become a new liaison for the Justice League and the new director of Argus.
I remember on, like, the Justice League Unlimited, I think it's season 2. That's, like, my favorite one, where it's pretty much like that infant crisis. It's that one where the Question, I think that's his name, sees that alternate reality where the Justice Lords took over their Earth and they ruled with an iron fist. And he's like, well, what's stopping our Justice League from doing that? Because they already have a tower, or they have a space station in space orbiting the planet with a giant gun that can blow up a continent. You know they have so much power, and what the hell can we do? And then Cadmus, Argus, I don't know, tomato. She was she was in that, the table in the same ballpark, saying, we got to make sure these guys don't do that. And my point I'm making is the banter between her and Batman needs to be studied. It is so...
Yeah, I mean...
The chemistry is just... The fact that they keep on one-upping one another is just... It's awesome. That stuff needs to be studied.
I agree. It's a very interesting dynamic. I think that adds another level for her and also for Batman for me. I did also find it fascinating that she was one of the few that just knew about Batman's identity.
Yeah.
She just knew. And didn't say anything. Just kept it in her back pocket for later.
I remember that because they cloned those young superheroes. I can't remember their names. And Batman says something, and she goes, careful, rich boy. And his eyes are like,
wait a second.
I see.
I get it now.
And then I remember the one episode where she was seriously in the bathroom getting a shower, and she was reaching for a towel, and Batman handed her a towel. And she's like, "What are you doing in here?" And he goes, "Hey, I know you know your stuff, but pretty much long and short of it is you need to watch Luthor hard, because he's gonna do something probably really stupid." I respect Luthor, but he does do stuff that's like, oh my god, buddy. Like, I like you.
Yeah, like he could have done it better.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like
he
thought too quick.
I respect Luthor. They got Luthor pretty good in that cartoon. Yeah. And then for the one episode, they launched Cadmus launched a nuke at this one island, and a habited island that Doomsday and Superman were fighting on. And he's like, "Oh crap, there's a missile heading right towards you, Clark. You got to get out of there." And he's like, someone needs to intercept that missile. And he hops in the tower in Justice League space station. He hops in a jet and flies. And while he's doing that, he's calling Amanda Waller on the phone that's a direct link to the President of the United States. And she picked, it's a red phone. She goes, "Yes, Mr. President." And he goes, "Call off the missile." And she's like, wide-eyed, "How in the hell did you get this?" Yeah. It's the back and forth banter is awesome between those two. It's amazing.
I genuinely thoroughly enjoy it. It's kind of comedic too, because it's almost like neither one of them are expecting anything, and then they're like, "Whoa, what are you doing here? Like, who are you?"
I think in the same way, it's almost like opposites. I don't want to say opposites attract, but they're almost so much alike that it's almost like an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. They're almost both cut from the same cloth. They're in their respective fields, whether it's the Justice League or Cadmus. They are at the top of the food chain, but their trust is very, very fuzzy. Not just their trust to other people, but other people trusting them. Like, Batman is one of the founding members of the Justice League, and like I said, his other teammates are very fuzzy. And it's probably the same way with Amanda Waller with Cadmus. You know, she's at the top of there, but I'm sure a lot of her subordinates, not counting Task Force X, but I am going to count them. The trust is very fuzzy.
Yeah. Well, most of the time there really isn't trust, and whatever trust is there is like a very half-hearted, like, well, she didn't kill us yet, so I think we're good. Like, it's a very weird dynamic.
I mean, I get it. You want to cover your ass, but I mean,
oh yeah,
she takes that to a whole new definition. Well, I haven't played the game. You know the Justice League. What's that called? Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I have not played that game, but she's a prevalent role in that game, and from what I understand, she has a pretty spot on job.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yes, amazing job. In terms of competency, I feel like she is very, very capable, and honestly too, it feels like she always knows what she's doing and when she's doing it.
Yes, I feel she's very rarely surprised. If Batman is not in the picture, she is very rarely surprised. I agree with you. Like, growing up with her, you know, watching the show and the movies and stuff, she does go over mountains to get the job done. The only thing is, I feel, how can I say this with respect without pissing people off? I feel she's a very, very sturdy deck of cards. Like, you know, you build a tower with a deck of cards.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
But I feel once that one piece just moves the right way, her whole, like, when she falls, it's going to be a big fall. And it's going to be hard for her to get back into that seat of power and or position. Just by watching her. Like I said, you probably know more about her than I do, but what I've seen is the charismatic of her is just out of this world.
Yeah, and I think to add what you were saying, whenever things do fall, how many leagues or how many task force that she has actually been a part of that have actually fallen, and she will always end up back in a position exactly like that, either because of her charismatic way or because people know they need her. Yeah,
she's pretty viable. Like, it's like, she's vain as hell, but she got to the point where it's almost hard to not just not have her on your team, but you need her on your team.
Yes.
I think her competency is it's pretty up there. Amanda Waller, I'd say it's up there. I really, like I said, I really can't think. You kind of covered all the bases there. She's one of those characters you hate to love or love to hate. I don't know how you want to put that.
I mean, either or.
Either or.
She's also, I mean, she's very conniving too. Like, she's very.
Oh yeah.
Make you watch one hand while she bitch slaps you with the other one.
Yeah, and she'll probably do it twice just to prove she's an asshole.
Just cause she can.
It's one of those ones. It's like it's like you're trying to feed your kid veggies, and it's like, I know you're gonna hate this, but it's for your own good, and
yeah,
that's what she does. This is gonna suck, honestly. But this is gonna, save the planet. This is going to save your butt.
As a matter of fact, this is gonna save the world's butt. So
save the world.
We gotta do this.
But no, she's very cool. Do you know when she appeared in the comics?
Yeah, actually. Her first appearance was in Suicide Squad Volume 4, Number 1, November of 2011. So she's a fairly recent character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. She kind of appeared. I was just shocked that how fairly new she was, how involved she was with so many different things. And also, she is still a pillar of so many different teams.
I agree. It's almost like she's been there the whole time, but you wouldn't know it, you know what I mean?
Yep. She's just kind of in the background running her business. And also, I think that's the other thing, too. She's very good about being in the background and being in the shadows, and also operating in the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of stuff that she is capable of doing that no one else will know. Not even the freaking government will know.
Well, yeah,
she's like, yeah, we did that. Like, she'll have to sit down and have a meeting after everything's done and be like, yeah.
Oh, I agree.
That.
That's like if you're like a commando team and you're in like, I don't know, Venezuela or Greece or somewhere out in America, and you're miles away from any contact, satellite, whatever, and you see
Yeah.
like it's a Kryptonian freaking spaceship or whatever. It's another Martian manhunter. You will hear her over your intercom saying, "Do not touch that. Do not look at it."
Out of nowhere.
It's a team of 6, right? And it's the only communications of 6 of them. And you'll just hear a woman's voice saying, "Do not touch that. Do not look at it. Do not even think about it. Just remain where you're at, and we're going to send you extra." Who the hell are you?
Right? What is going on?
But you know that'll happen. Unless you have anything else, we're going to tackle Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's going to be good.
And we'll see how his competency is compared to Amanda Waller.
Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe if you like what you hear. Back to the episode.
Amanda Waller. I would say she's pretty good at her job. The long and short of it.
Yeah, she'll let you know too. Only if she wants to.
She will. Nick Fury, aka the Ultimate Spy, THEE.
Capital
His
T-E.
resume, he's a master of espionage and intel gathering, skilled military strategist, skilled armed and unarmed combat. So he's a bit more hands-on than most.
Definitely more hands-on than Waller. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, she does get her hands dirty, but Nick Fury has a bit more experience than she does.
He's got way more history.
Yeah. So in the as much as I respect the MCU Fury with what's his name, Samuel Jackson portraying him flawlessly, but the Nick Fury I'm going to be talking about is the comics one, the one the original one. He was white, which I'm not going to be doing. I'm not that guy. I have nothing against the new one. It's just the one that I have read up on was the original one. He actually has taken this formula called the Infinity Formula that has slowed down his aging. He fought in the comics. He fought with Captain America in World War II because he led the Howling Commandos, and I'm pretty sure they were on the first Captain America movie. They just changed things up a bit.
Slightly.
He led the Howling Commandos, and they did a lot of missions with Captain America against Nazis. Actually, let me phrase that. Against Hydra and Nazi.
There you go.
Yeah, because it's peanut butter and jelly.
It took 2 to tango there.
It did. Yeah, so he did, like I said, he took this formula called an Infinity Formula that slowed down his aging. So he's as old as Captain. It just, like I said, slowed down his aging. He's 100-something, but he looks like he's 50. And then at some point, that formula stopped working, and then he had to rely on LMDs, which are life model decoys, are pretty much robots that look spitting image of Nick Fury that he controls, in the shadows, not just for his protection, but to mislead everybody thinking that he hasn't aged or isn't human. He doesn't like to show his humanity. If he can help it, he doesn't like to show that. Like I said, his quick thinking and assessment. A good example of that would be on the Avengers movie, whenever the Security Council wanted to nuke New York to try and stop the Chitauri. He said, hell no to that, and went up on the helicarrier deck and took an RPG to stop the said jet from taking off with the nuke. Oh. So he is not afraid to harm lives in order to save more lives. Like, the last thing he's thinking about was the pilot. He just, I gotta stop this plane.
Him and Waller have that in common. They are not afraid to sacrifice some lives for the good of humanity.
Yes, exactly. And right here I have in bold lettering, aka starred. I starred this threat assessment. A keen sense of perception, recognizing potential dangers, and taking preemptive measures. That means this fella, if he can, will stop crap from happening before it happens, no matter what. Just like they did on... Yeah, just like in Captain America Winter Soldier, when he had those 3 helicarriers built to take out enemies before they became enemies. Is that the right thing to do? Not really, but it would have done the job. He's actually such an a-hole. He actually made Thor in the comics unworthy just by whispering Gore was right in his ear.
Oh God.
So his charisma is out the wazoo. But yeah, so he has this, I don't want to say it's weird, but he will get his hands dirty, but if he can, like, he'll use other people to do it for him, if that makes any sense. But yes, he is very in the gray when it comes to being either a good guy or a bad guy, because he has seen the bullcrap this world has to offer. He's like, no, I'm gonna just take this rule book, shred it up, and put it in the fire, and take care of things the way I think they should be. Like his thing of authority, he does not follow if he doesn't have to. Like I said,
No.
the preemptiveness is off the chart. I can't explain that any other way.
I think the
Like
thing he has
in the
up
comics
against.
for Secret Wars, I think it is. Whenever Doom wasn't in the picture anymore, he went to Latveria to try to take them out before they got too dangerous. Because as much as Doom is on the top of the bingo book for most wanted in the Marvel universe, he actually has people that don't really mess with him when he's in charge. And when Doom's out of the picture, power that he manifested physically and on paper, is a big threat without Doom in the picture. So Fury's like, I don't think anyone else can handle what Doom is doing. So he went above his pay grade and his superiors, Fury did, to make sure that that threat was taken out, and that led to the Civil War, the whole Civil War conflict, which is probably one of the best. I recommend everyone reading that. They have a Civil War comic that came out, I think, 15 years ago. It's really good. They tackled a little bit of it in the Civil War movie, but the comic it's like tenfold more destructive and just better. Has a lot more
Yeah,
to it.
I knew the comics went so much deeper. I feel like
Yeah.
they were able to go so much deeper because I mean, when you do a movie, there's only so much that you can fit into the movie. I
Yeah.
think they did a really good job about picking and choosing what went into the movie. In
Yeah. I mean,
terms of what happened in the comics, I think they did a good job translating. And not
right.
I think that's the other thing too. They didn't really translate it into a movie. They made it a movie. But the
Yeah.
comics were so much more in depth.
They were. Like in the comics, it was pretty much like seven, or like it was like 6 versus 6. In the comics, it's like 60 versus 60, if that. It's just disgustingly a lot
A
more
bigger
going on.
scale.
Oh yeah.
Way bigger scale.
It's funny how you read in that book or you read that story and think how people's perspective changes even if you're on the same team. Like it divided everybody. It divided the Avengers. It divided the X-Men. Hell, it even divided the Fantastic Four.
Wow.
It's crazy. When you're in a world that you either choose between freedom or peace, because it's really almost difficult to have both. You're going to get a lot of lines drawn,
Yeah.
and it kind of shows people's true nature coming up from the surface.
Yeah, you get to really see what people will do to go to great lengths to do
Yeah,
what's right.
because even in fiction, you have to have accountability. It has to be someone's fault, even if you have to pin it on the wrong person.
Yes.
It makes people feel a lot more at ease. I mean, you'd
Yes.
rather say, I don't know who. You'd rather hear it was Magneto rather than saying, oh, we don't know who it was. People start panicking. And that creates enemies. It does.
Absolutely.
But yeah, competency, same as Waller. I feel he does a good job. I mean, he does make enemies, even with his allies.
Oh, I mean, so does Waller. How many times
Yeah.
how many times does she go up to somebody that's quote unquote the good guy as like, listen, this is what I'm doing, whether you like it or not, and it's going to benefit the world.
As much as, like I said, I wanted to tackle more of the original Nick Fury,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't help. Like I said, they did him justice in the movies. Like like I said, the whole preemptive thing. Good example in the first Avengers movie, he was using Hydra tech with the Tesseract to make weapons to fend off greater threats. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, his means kind of justified his ends, but Thor had
Yeah.
a point. When you're making these weapons and technology, you're letting other worlds know that you're in the realm of having more. How did he say that? It's like you're readying yourself for more of a war than you're cut out to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, honestly, do you think if Shield had their way and completely perfected that technology, and let's say the Kree Empire came in full force, do you really think they would have stood a chance? No. The same with Asgard. The same with even Thanos. No, I don't think they would have done very well, even with all their advancements.
No, no. And his thing is all about preventing that stuff before it even happens, because he knows they, excuse me, he knows they wouldn't have a chance. He knows.
I mean, I'll give him credit. He does choose a lesser two evils, but that doesn't mean the other evil is going to come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah. I think in terms of Amanda Waller versus Nick Fury, I think the scale of the threats, and this is just me speaking personally, I think the scale of the threats may be a little bit different on certain aspects. I know Waller is really, really good at doing like homeworld threats, and I know she had some involvement with a lot of like other world threats that were there trying to neutralize that and do the same thing as basically Nick Fury, where try to stop them before they even really happen, because if they do make it to Earth, then that's not going to be good. Or if they do get threatening to the point to where they could actually do some damage, that's whenever she starts stepping in, is like, nope, let's kill this before it gets any bigger.
They have a really tough responsibility of drawing the line of where do we stop in order to prevent further hostile measures. Like, where does the accountability kind of get fuzzy? Like, sure, let's say in Avengers in Captain America Winter Soldier, like, if those helicarriers, if they weren't destroyed and they did take out every potential threat, like, would that really end it? Or would that bring more powerful people to say, we have to step up our game before it happens to us, or if it happens again? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough call. It's such a gray area because it's almost like you can't win. So in desperation, you do you try to up the scale to try and win something that's unwinnable, and you end up just making it worse. So is the job tough? Yes, I would hate to have that job on both sides.
Yeah, no,
because it feels like you can't. It's not the right thing. You make too many enemies. You probably don't make enough. You probably don't make enough friends at all.
No.
Even if you do try to do the right thing. But
no,
I agree.
More friends than enemies.
Yeah, but I do agree with Cecil and Invincible. You can either be the good guy or save the world, and you can't be both. He might be more competent both Amanda Waller and Nick Fury, put together, because at least he admits it. He does.
Yeah.
He had a point.
Dude, I'm not going to be the good guy, but I'm going to save the world.
Like, are you all caught up with Invincible?
I actually am not. I watched the first couple episodes, and then I got busy, and it just hasn't.
All right. Well, I won't ruin it for you.
On my radar, unfortunately.
I won't ruin it for you, but at the end of season 3, I'm not going to say who it is, but Mark Invincible beats up this guy, and he tells Cecil to, burn the body. I could barely beat this guy. If I wasn't here, the world would be destroyed, blah, blah, blah. So Cecil does not kill this person. He does not burn the body. He traps him underground, 600 feet underground. I can't remember he said how many tons of tungsten that he used to hold this guy down. But he pretty much said, when this guy, regenerates and comes alive, we're going to interrogate him so he tells us everything we want to know. But at that fact, is the knowledge you're seeking worth the threat? You know what I mean?
And yeah,
like,
very well could be. Absolutely.
The threat's coming, but you not taking this threat out, is the knowledge worth it? Like, you might find out what you want to know, but now you have another guy to take care of if he escapes, when he escapes. You know what I mean? It's a tough call. I would not want this job. I wouldn't.
No, I think with this job too, you have to blur the line between morality and what's right for the world a lot. And both of those characters do a very good job of doing so. And they take a lot of hard hits. And I think both of those characters are a bit underrated in the fact where they are going to struggle with this for the rest of their lives. That's also why they're portrayed as sort of like a callous, hard ass, not really empathetic towards other people, because they have to shut that off. In order to do what is necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of weight on their shoulders. Probably even more than like the Avengers or the Justice League. They got a lot more weight on their They have a lot more weight on their soldiers' shoulders, because they can't pick up a building. Thank you. They can't pick up a magic hammer. They don't have high-tech armor. They don't have the ability to soak up the sun's radiation and pick up, half a planet. They don't have that. So they use what they have, to protect what they love by any means necessary. And that means is probably not going to be the best for everybody.
Well, they are human because of their humanity. I know Nick Fury had relied on some of the robots to kind of keep his body going a little bit.
Yeah.
But in terms of that, like, if they die, it's over. They're gone. They're not coming back.
Yeah.
So they have to rely on their brains and the way that they do things. They have to be a little bit more resourceful and a little bit more careful of what they do in order to keep the world going forward.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, before I wrap this up, I do believe both parties are competent, but it's not without their merit. You know what I mean? It's for sure you saved the world, but at what cost? Like, what did we lose by trying to gain a victory? You know what I mean?
Yeah, what or who did we lose? I think in terms of experience-wise, obviously Nick Fury has been around a lot longer than Amanda Waller has. And I think they do a really good job in the comics of portraying both of those. And also, Amanda Waller worked her way up. She'd been in mainly a lot of administrative roles throughout her life, whereas Nick Fury started with Captain America on teams with Captain America during World War II. So he's got a little bit more hand-to-hand combat experience. He has a little bit more military experience. He has a little bit more knowledge of exactly what goes on down on the ground rather than Amanda Waller. Which is not at the fault of Amanda. That's just the way that she was. That's just some of the roles that she was portrayed as going into. And she is still such a new character as well. Nick Fury he's got a long history.
Yeah. I don't know what else to add. It's a crappy job. You probably don't get paid enough.
Yeah, not at all. In terms of, well, sometimes, I mean, I feel like you might not even be getting paid at all. Like, your payment is knowing that you saved the world. And the worst part is, sometimes they have to take the back role. They got to play in that gray area of not many people or no one actually knowing that they were the reason for the world being saved or the reason for events turning out the way that they did in favor of good. So they're not exactly getting the credit that they deserve either.
Oh, no. I said they said it's better they do operate from the shadows because they don't want people.
I think Waller,
yeah,
you wouldn't want people knowing that you had altered the course of history in order to get a certain outcome.
Yeah,
that's not exactly advantageous in a lot of people's favors. But I think in terms of Amanda Waller, I think Nick Fury's a little bit more prone to work in those gray areas because he is a little bit more secretive. And I think he had been brought up to be a little bit more secretive as well, where he's kind of working behind the scenes, working in the shadows, where only select few people even know that he's doing some of these jobs. Whereas Amanda Waller, she is that way a little bit, but she's more governmental behind the scenes, if that makes any sense.
It does.
So Waller is pretty good at going behind the scenes, but everyone knows that she's there.
Exactly. Yeah, before we wrap it up, please, again, Quinn and I do enjoy doing these videos. Yeah, please like, subscribe, share, and please comment on your feelings. What do you think of anything? Tell us if you want us to do something like this again. We're going to wrap it up today. And pretty much heavy is the head that wears the crown. The long and short of it. All right, Quinn, we're going to wrap it up here, and you have a great one, and I can't wait till the next time.
See you next week, Miss Eyes. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today's episode. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments, who do you think is more competent at the job, and who do you think is better in this Nick Fury versus Amanda Waller? Let us know in the comments. We will see you on next week's episode of Your Weekly Pop Culture Apocalypse.